Alright, welcome back to today's video. In this video we are going to be focusing on the doors. So you can see here how the doors are rusted and there's a big old gap between the rocker and the door. So I'm going to show you what I did to fix this. Well, some of you might not consider it a fix. So the first step I did was, I took the door, opened it, and cut the bottom piece out. And when I did, all this junk rust fell out. My old friend, Rust. He was everywhere when I started. You'll notice some of this video clips go back a long ways because the body's in much better shape than the last couple videos, but I got to get you back to where I started so you can see the nightmare. So you can see my little bent piece of steel on the bottom. I clamped it up there and held it, and then screwed it in place. Made sure it was right, got close, and as you can see up underneath here how it's clamped and held in place, I cut out most of the bottom of the door. Was rusty and gross, so I cut it out of the way. And then once I got it all cut out of the way, you start to build this little piece in there, fill it in, tack it, and then this is closed. And so I had trimmed that piece that I extended it down. Now I trimmed it and extended it down knowing that I can't do that. I have to sheet the outside, right? So I tack it. It's getting more and more complete. I got sick of burning my eyes and dropping crap all over me, but I did get it done. And I got pieces to fill, things, you can see a lot of the mistakes that I do, but it's the bottom of a door, so don't judge me. No one's looking at the bottom of my door, except for everyone who watches this videos. So anyway, I get the bottom of the doors kind of put together. I screwed up once when I started to mount this steel to it, and I actually screwed from the outside in with the door closed and screwed the door shut. Don't do that. I had to weld the little hole I put in the rocker. Really genius moment. You can see the sky, you can see the steel, you can see I got a radius. I got to come down and hook and come up to where the rust is no longer. And basically all my doors are trash. But with that on there, doesn't it look a lot better? I think so. So with that on there, I figured I got to figure how to sheet the outside. How am I going to do that? So what do? You build a template. So here's my little boy helping me. Look at him scratching the car with a screwdriver. Look at that. He got in trouble. But wait, he doesn't care. This is my little hem piece. That's the whole reason of this video. You can see it clips on the bottom. I learned this from YouTube like crazy. But now, screwdriver, boy, much better. But look what he does. He puts it back. He's a good helper. So, now that I have this kid torturing the car, he's going to learn how to drive this one someday, I'm pretty sure. He already likes it. So, now that I've got this thing all worked out, I decided to get off my knees and get up to the table so I could fill in like this whole gap right in there. You can see is real nasty along here. I got to weld all this stuff in, fill in all these gaps, weld it all the way solid. It's a lot of stuff to work on, a lot of stuff to do, but it's kind of fun. This whole corner looks like garbage rust bucket, so I got to fix this whole section here. And so I've never really done body work. I've never really done any of this stuff. Thanks to YouTube and some spare time, I think it's working out. I did have to make this piece. So this is my skin. I bent it, and I will show you my fabulous tools. It's 2 C-clamps, a sheet of steel, and I took a hammer and I beat the crap out of this piece of steel for hours. Let me show you. I have it marked, both sides, and I just whacked this thing for an hour, and then for the gap for the hook for hemming it on, see, this is what it looks like after banging on it. I think it's probably the second side, but it's not important. It's still steel being bent. But you just bang it with a hammer, get some motion on it, right? So this is the fancy tools I use to build pieces. I just clamp it and beat it with a hammer. when I didn't have the right size stuff, you just build what you got. So that's how I did it. It turns out all right. You can see I built the corner in. Now we're back to the door. So it's turning out all right. The bottom of the door is getting built in. This is all ground. It is not a show car. It is not going to be seen on the bottom. If you come to a car show, climb under someone's car and look up at the bottom of the door, you're a jerk. So don't do that to my car. Heck, I don't even want you to look at the gaps on my doors anymore. But this is the first thing I did. I think it turned out pretty good. You got all these welds filling in, got all the stuff going. The next step is to flip this door over. Then I re-weld the welds on the inside where I ground off, that you can hide them better on the insides. So flip it, boom, flip it goes. So I whacked off the bottom 6 inches of the door, just sliced it off there. This is all the rust inhibitor, rust converter paint all over it, and I put that there. And then you can see how I was able to weld up more of the bottom, got it ground off. Once again, never roll yourself under my car and look at an open door. But you get the point. I had to extend these things about a 1/2 inch. That's my piece that goes on there. I've put it through the English wheel to kind of get the radius just right. This is the piece I cut off. You can tell how gross rusted it was. Let me flip it. Flip it. It was bad all the way up, but you can tell at the top side it wasn't as rusty. You can still see paint. So I figured I was far enough up the door to avoid rust. So now you can see the car already picks up chicks. So here's my gaps on the door going back together. You can see it's not too terrible, not too good, but it works. You can see the bottom gap of the door. I like that way better than a 1/2 inch gap. It turned out pretty good. Several things I didn't like, but I'll show you in a minute. So you can see the back door gap. That looks nice. Coming up pretty good. So overall, I was happy with how my gaps came out, and this is after welding and grinding the gaps out. Let me show you how good my radius skills are. So I put this thing all together. When I welded it, it got hot and collapsed. So there's your collapsedness. This side's more of a radius. So if you ever do this to my car now, I would scream. But back then, no one cares. There's no paint on it, right? So you can see there's a little gap where some light comes through. About 6 inches of a gap. Anyways, not important. Goes away there. So it's only on the door. So I primed it. A little paint and primer to hide it so no one looks at it too closely. And I think it's turning out okay. What do you do when one side's done? Do the other. So this one, you got a little more footage of the rusty holes. See, that's the passenger door, and you can see that it was just rusted like crazy. I mean, you can see right through it in a couple spots right there. Yeah. So I got to do the same process to this door as I did the other door, so that I have doors. So I took it and I clamped this piece on, this time making sure I only screwed out, and I held it up there, tacked it up. Once I got it somewhat done, you can kind of see my process a little better with this. See, I closed the door. You see the black marker? I took and marked each side of the rocker that's relatively flat and drew a line and then cut it. It was way quicker than the driver's side. So with it all laid out, you can see it all welded in the new piece. I still got to fix a little bit here and there. Got these corners, these pits. I tried really hard to eliminate a lot of the rust, but if I got rid of all the rust, I would just throw the car in the trash. Hello! And I got to finish this back piece because it was pretty bad. It's missing some sections. So lots of stuff I learned. Don't buy a car so rusted it should have been scrapped. Number 1 lesson. That's what my wife reminds me. So this was the front of the door. I tried pulling the dent out. Someone smacked it on something way back when, and I turned it into a cheese grater looking thing. Like, I tried everything. I tried slide hammers. I cut it off eventually, and look at that. So much better. So I just made this giant piece all from scratch by hand. Put the radius to it to match the door. Tried really, really hard to make sure I didn't collapse anything and have the same issues I did with the other one. And, well, I had the same issues. I got the door hot, I warped it and bent it. Man, I found out I suck at body work a lot. But like I always said, as I built it, it's not a show car. Although it's showy, it's not a show car. It is to show people that I built it. The gaps turned out good. Fenders are fenders, and I'm super happy with it. It looks kind of funkadoodly, but don't worry, I'll show you what I do the next time. So after I make sure they all fit, I like the gap, it's time to make them pretty. So now I've started sanding to see high and low spots, and I don't want anybody out there to judge me on how crappy my body work is, because bad bodies are still bodies. Remember that, no body shaming here. So that's my patchwork, that's my high spots, my low spots, my oh my goodness spots. It has some tin canning in it. When I welded it, it looks horrible. I mean, look down that thing. I think I give you a really good shot of how crappy of a welder and fabricator I am. I mean, I watch a lot of fab guys and they would have thrown it away, but me, I get out a torch. So I was watching videos on how to get rid of tin canning, where you heat up a spot and it raises like a giant bubble, and then you get it wet and it hardens it, and that works really cool. So I did basically most of the door. Wherever it was like really high, I would like heat it with a torch and try to push that section up. And I tried to level out the door with flame, kind of a blacksmith approach to body work. Not the way I've seen it on YouTube for a lot, but I got closer. I mean, you can kind of see my body work getting a little better. I mean, that's the exact same door a second ago that looked like Swiss cheese farted on it. So I'm happier. You can see it looks like the moon right there because I heated it up so many times. But it actually is smoother than it looked, right? See that? How smooth it looks though? So my blowtorch works. Thank you to all the YouTube people that say to use a blowtorch. And I was so proud of it. I'm going to show you again. I mean, look how smooth that looks. I was super proud of myself from taking a dented piece of junk and making it a dented piece of junk. Not many people can take something that was and turn it back to what it was. But I tried. And so let me show you how bad it is. From what it was to this, I figure as long as Bondo's good for 6 inches thick, I should be good. And I mean, definitely going to be 6 inches thick on some Bondo on this car. So it's not a race car, because if you were a race car, you'd be worried about weight. I ain't worried about weight. Look at that Bondo. So it's now the time to make it Bondo beautiful. That's what I would call this car if I was to be rude, but I put Bondo on for the first time, never done it. While it was drying, I need to come and weld these mold holes in. This is what holds the molding on. I don't know. They just need fixed. And this side turned out so much better. That is why you do the passenger side door and then the driver, because I don't look at the passenger side door after I painted it. Who cares? Driver side I look at all the time. So that side gets Bondo, this side gets some more Bondo, and this one gets Bondo, and I'm just going to bounce back and forth. So now you can see some Bondo on this door. Look at that big old glob of Bondo, looking even better and better and better. Little did I know that I was nowhere near done with Bondo when I was done with these two doors. This was the roughened Bondo. It looked really good to me being the first time, but as I progress, oh my goodness, you're going to see me Bondo beautiful this whole car. But I'm super proud of how smooth it is. I wasn't worried about slivers or getting a spike in my hand running across it. So I was super proud of myself. As anyone who does a car should be. Be proud of what you do, or do it again. I did a lot of things a lot of times. So this is how I'm going to hang it, these little holes in the hinges. But man, I'm so happy with how the Bondo's looking. Let me show you. Look at that. My hand can rub on it. It's smooth. You can kind of see the car in the background sitting out there, but don't look at it. That's for the next video. You can kind of see how everything's looking. It's super exciting and rewarding to rub your hand on something that felt like a waffle that's now smoother, like a biscuit. Not a pancake, but more like a biscuit. It's got some ripples in it, but it feels good. It looks good. So I got to hang them up, and I got to get going on them. I put another coat on. I think I did. You can see the ground. There is a gallon of Bondo on these doors, but most of that gallon is on the ground because I didn't know what I was doing. I'd put it on thick, and then it would dry funny, and then I'd sand it all off. And so grateful for air tools. Holy cow. Yeah. You just sand it off with an air tool and mold this thing into some sculptured door, like marble door. I don't know. It was really thick Bondo, but it turned out good. It met within the spec. I didn't go over the max depth it could go. And finally, look, the doors are hung up. They are in their place where they belong. They are sitting there ready to be painted, and I painted them. I know I did. I rust coated them. I can't find any footage of it being painted, so you get to see the driver door picture result. That's all you get. So this is how it kind of turned out. It turned out really smooth. I got them back on the car. I was happy enough with it. And I hope you guys enjoy watching my video on Bondo and bodywork. This is the beginning of bodywork and such. And so hopefully the next video shows you way more bodywork on how I did the front and how I sand this whole thing down a whole bunch. I swear I sanded this thing 20, 30 times, every single inch of it. So be prepared to be bored, but enjoy. Thank you for watching.